Welcome back my channel. I'd like to pick up where we left off in our last video, and as we're continuing to press on and try to cover some of the ideas that will be helpful to you as you're working on the Bull Chatmail 2 projects. So I've already loaded the useful libraries and executed those. So we are all set, and I'm starting from scratch here this morning. So I'm going to run down from the top all the way to item number 16, and that will get us to approximately we are at. I am going to give you a little introduction to Gplot this week, which is a more advanced plotting software package that I think you'll enjoy using as you continue to develop your skills. This is an interesting place to stop because if you remember, I had created this temporary variable, which is just really the data frame match data. But I wanted to do some tweaking, if you will, of one of the variables to make sure that it was a factor so that we could use it when we wanted to plot and separate by male and female. And you'll notice down here in the console that after I created temp, I wanted to look at the gender 15 variable, which is identical as what it was in the match data, but I want you to notice the quotes around it, the devil quotes. And that's an indication that this is a character vector, which is what you'll expect as you put in characters. And you notice that I asked here what the class or the data type was for to add gender 15. And it did tell me it was a character, but that's not going to work for what we want to do when I need R to be looking at a factor. And so factor is really identifying to R. I have a categorical vector or variable, and so I've converted it, but I want you to notice how it changes as you look now at temp.$15. You're seeing it expressing itself not as characters with double quotes, but we have a label here as a factor. So that's just an important observation. Hopefully you've made it in your own little research and study. And then of course, this was where we ended last time. And we can create a couple vectors, one for color and one for symbols. And then this is probably where I'm going to stop on this video, not to get too long, but I want you to notice what happens here as I begin to marry the colors with the male-female. So you'll notice that the males now in gender 15 are going to be associated with gray, red, etc. And that matching is now going to allow us to separate by male and female and get the right colors of our data points in our plot. So wow, well, we got something getting close, don't we? So I've separated my male and female patients by color. And how did I do that? This matching that we had shown in the last video was really important to tie the red and the gray colors to the symbols, the PCH3 and 4 symbols. And so I ended up being able now just to do standard things. My plot has my A dependent variable, my independent variable. I identify my data start. I set some limits on my boundaries. I put some nice labels on, and then I tie a PCH symbols to the temp variable for gender 15. And that's really going to be able to tie the PCH to the 3 and 4 in the PCHs variable I created, and the colors will be matched with the vector calls that I created up above that you saw in the last video or so. And with that, everything else pretty standard. I orient my symbols along, here are my numbers along the axis, and I change the text size, and that should be about it. Thank you for joining me.